getting time to have a holiday plus signing a building contract, which we only sign, 4 or 5 days a year. It's like a main function, our main outcome of what we're trying to do through the whole pre-construction process. Was a great moment.
Hey, it's Dave, and I'm joined by Luke Davies from Davies Construction. They're an award-winning builder down in Tasmania, Australia. They do some exceptional work. Definitely, I'll put a link through to their website that you can check out some beautiful homes. And we are sharing stories from business owners on their road to systemisation. So maybe just to start, Luke, if you can tell us just a little bit about the work that you guys do and the clients that you serve.
Yeah, no worries, Dave. So we're based in Tasmania. My backstory is growing up on dairy farms and done my let's call it grade 10, done my apprenticeship as a carpenter, and then started my building company when I was about 24. And ever since then, just had a really strong focus on quality. So we started off doing all types of building work, and then slowly worked ourselves into doing like high-end architectural homes, and both the design and construction of those. So that's our sort of forte, and that's our what we're all trained to do, and what our systems are about. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's our day to day.
And how did you kind of learn the business of running a construction and building business? Because it sounds like you were on the tools and that's where you got started. And I feel like it's a pretty common story with a lot of trades-based businesses. They know how to do the technical work, but it's
Yeah,
the transitioning to understanding how to do a business or run a business that delivers the technical work that oftentimes a lot of tradies struggle with.
yeah, pretty much just finding your way in the dark.
Yeah.
There's yeah, I was again really, really good hand skills and really good carpenter. But then yeah, when you go into the business, yeah, it went pretty well for the first couple of years, and then same story, I suppose. We got into cash flow problems and ended up having to sell my house, and
Wow,
um,
epic.
to sort of get out of trouble. And then I found a business, scraped up my last sort of savings, and found a business coach that specialised in builders. And one of the things that he said straight away is, like systems process, and they're all around cash flow management and that type of stuff, and getting in more sales. And then that really helped me. And then yeah, from then on, started getting into personal development and just reading lots of audio books, lots of podcasts, and it sort of just changed my mindset. And
Mm.
eventually we just started winning awards for our quality and just went from there.
The systems things that I always feel like systems fit really well in the construction space because there's a way of doing things. I mean, you get a project manager to manage a particular project, and there are certain steps, and the electrician will need to come in before the plasterer, and like it's just like one big project. My question is, would you see yourself as a systems person? Like, is that something that you connect with, or is that something that's learned, or do you not even see yourself as a systems person now?
Yeah, definitely process driven person and systems person. You have to
Yeah.
be when you're a tradie, because yeah, like one thing can't start till the next thing's finished, and you have to be organised and have that schedule, sort of all laid out and one thing after the next. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think my personality is a system. I like to see systems and process. I don't like to, as I suppose a bit of a creator, I don't sort of follow them that much, but I do like to have them in place,
Yeah.
so the team can follow them. And clarity, I found, is the number one thing that makes your team members happy and fulfilled, is just seeing what they have to do and knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
That's what really gives them joy.
And I remember we jumped on a Zoom. I can't remember how many years ago now. It must have been a while back when you first outreached to us um, about doing some work and applying systemology in the business. I'm always curious how you came across us. Was that through the business coach, or did you happen to read the book, or
I
do
read
you
the book,
remember?
and I can't remember whether I just searched the book and found it myself, or whether I heard you on a podcast
Yeah.
and then found the book. But yeah, I listened to the book, and then as soon as I listened to the book, I listened to it again, and then I passed it around to all the team. And it's
Yeah.
one of those, I've got like 3 or 4 key books on my shelf, and the Systemology book's one of those sort of go-tos. I think I even posted it out to a few builders for a Christmas present, a few guys that we work close with. So yeah, found the book and just went from there. Yep.
Was there anything in particular that stood out for you? Because again, you were already a process guy,
Yeah.
or you think in terms of process and going on that personal development journey that you talked about. And you're a bit of a reader, so you would have come across books like the E-Myth and some of the classics as well. Like, was there anything in particular that made Systemology stand out?
Yeah, I think I've got 430 books or something in my Audible account, so there's a lot of
Yeah,
content I've consumed.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Double speed, I hope.
yeah, double speed. If you're
Yeah,
really in the flow, I can get up, right up to 2.5 to 3. So
yeah,
just
love it.
depends. But the systemology book, just the simplicity of it, I really like the idea of, how he explained project management systems. It's
Mm,
the who does what by when, not the how to. That was a sort of bit of an aha. And then the critical client flow. So just the
mm,
critical things, because there's so many stuff. And I had folders and spreadsheets and trying to name all these departments and systems and processes and trying to do all this stuff before I read the book.
mm.
And again, it's the power in the simplicity of bringing it into this critical client flow, and then the way that you explain how to extract systems. I never thought of that either, and how easy you can make that. So just bringing all those sort of three things together, because I was trying to build complex project management systems with all the do this, do
Yeah.
that, do this, and it was just too overwhelming, and nothing ever really worked. So yeah, that were the key sort of takeaways from the book, I think.
Yeah. And then I know when you first outreach and you worked with one of our systemologists, you did some work with
Yeah,
James.
James.
Yeah. As you kind of went through that process, how was that in kind of formalizing some of this and getting it done?
Yeah, again, you picking the knowledgeable person that knows the most about the task or the process, and just getting them going through like the extraction process was really good for me and really good for the team.
Yeah.
And we done that out of Davies Construction. Just by doing that process, we were able to start an entirely new company that was up and running from I've never worked in that company from the day we started it. So it was just because I could copy all those systems and pop it into the new company. It's an architecture company, and I'm not an architect, so I can't actually do any of that sort of work. But because we had all these sales process systems and all the critical client flow, which is sort of the same for both companies,
Mm.
we could then copy all that, change a couple of things, and that company's been going now for 3 years, and it's doing some really good work and profitable and going really well, just because we had that core critical client flow that we could just copy over.
I kind of wish a lot of business owners would get that experience because it's the blessing and the curse. They know how to do the technical work, but that helps them problem solve stuff. And oftentimes that's why they get good traction and good feedback. But then it's also what traps them. And having an opportunity to run a business where you can't do the work uh, is the first time for a lot of business owners that they can then see how it is possible to have a business that runs without them, as opposed to
Yeah,
most of them just have the picture of them being at the center cog of the machine.
yeah. And I got really good at doing the vision, mission, values, the value proposition stuff, and really clarifying that. So once that's set up from my end, and then you
Yeah.
plug in these systems on how to deliver, the product or service, it works really well. And I think it's a bit like building a house, like trying to fit an architrave or a door with the wrong type of saw and the wrong type of nail gun. It takes you heaps longer, and you never get the same quality. Whereas I think of all the assets in our business, um, systems and processes are a tool. Whether it's the right email template, the right brochure, the right way to explain your value to the client, or the right checklist, they're all tools. And if they're wrapped up into the right sort of system and workflow, and the people are trained how to use them,
Mm.
it's the same as a skilled tradesperson with the nice sharp saw and the right nail gun and all the right tools to build a house. You can do the same with a business.
Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely finding business is business, no matter what business or what industry it is. There's just systems and processes that are transferable. All businesses need leads. All businesses need to convert those leads. All businesses need to convert need to deliver the core product or service, or HR issues management. So it's business as business. I'd love to know if you had any insights or things that you wish you had known before you got started when it comes to systems and processes and building it out. Is there anything that you can look back with the benefit of hindsight and go, "Ooh, I kind of wish we did this," or "Now when I start a business, I do this differently"?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think again, I've said it. It's the simplicity and the not
Yeah,
trying to overcomplicate things.
yeah,
When you're talking and reviewing stuff with your team members, it's like, again, the biggest frustration is just not being clear on what they have to do.
yeah,
So yeah, starting new businesses now, because we've got 6 businesses that we've started.
yeah,
It's just getting all that. I've got to, get a process and a system to get all that clarity up front, and it's just not keep it simple.
yeah,
Whereas before, my brain goes to complexity first, and
yeah,
it tries to try and look under every stone, go down every rabbit hole, and try and bring all this information in and make this big complex thing. But if I had the critical client flow, which I use now to start new businesses, and that's one of the first documents we go to, and it's like this, 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 this. That's the core process. That's what we need. That's the core flow. That's what we need process and systems for.
yeah.
And then we just focus on that.
I love that
Yeah, yeah,
idea.
yeah,
You mentioned about the simplicity for the team, and starting with that also helps team members understand where they fit into the picture of the business. What do I do, and how does this impact the work that we're doing, and who's before me and who's after me? So I can see how the critical client flow really helps there. I'm curious to know if you had any resistance from team members or anything that you had to overcome when you were introducing this way of working. I don't know if you got any insights there as to, yeah,
yeah,
challenges, or where it's been hard.
yeah. Definitely different team members or different positions give different sort of resistance. Some
Mm,
were some of the guys in the office were, I explained it and they could understand that systems can set them free. I like the idea of, I explain the idea of, like, if we set this system up, you should be able to take a month off or go on holiday, and then someone can come into your role and produce the same outcome. But there definitely was resistance. It's like the time they have to spend to do the extractions and prepare for it and develop the systems versus being so busy with the day to day. Like, construction's pretty hectic.
yeah,
There's always lots going on. So, and then we had the guys on site. Again, we're just a little bit, why are we doing this? And it just comes down to the business owner explaining, the value of doing that and getting that across to them. Otherwise, you're going to have resistance with everything you try and implement or do, if they don't understand why you're doing it. So,
mm-mm.
um,
What
but yeah, it was definitely seeing the benefits now.
what size team did you have? As you're starting to roll this out in Davies Construction, and I know you work with a variety of different contractors and things. I'm just thinking, I know that the larger the team gets, the more challenging it becomes to change, because you're
Yeah.
trying to change culture. So, what size team is it at Davies Construction?
So I was 15 when we
Yeah,
started the extraction stuff.
yeah,
So
perfect.
it's the culture, we're already talking about being a system-driven enterprise, and that systems can set us free, and that we're not, our frustrations and bottlenecks and issues come from having the right asset or the right system.
Mm,
So we're not blaming the person, we're blaming the tool they're using because the flow's not right or whatever. So we're already talking about that type of stuff. And everyone knew that I was systems driven. So it wasn't it's not like we're going from, like full
yeah,
chaos to trying to organize everything to be 100% system driven.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. And you mentioned some of the benefits or the wins. I don't know if either a particular story or if there's any outcome. I always find it hard to make the case for business owners where I go, you should be systemizing, because I know systems impact everything. And sometimes that makes it hard to quantify, because like literally it's the building blocks of great business, and being more efficient and reducing waste and making sure that team members are happier and getting better outcomes for clients. Like the impacts are wide reaching. I don't know if there's anything that you can kind of go, systems did this for us.
I suppose one example, I was on holidays. Because I didn't have any holidays when we first started, hadn't travelled until maybe 4 years ago.
Mm.
And we were overseas on a month holiday, and I got a link through on my phone to an electronic thing to sign a building contract, like a multi-million-dollar building contract, and I hadn't had anything to do with the sales process or designing or prepping or doing any of that type of stuff. It had all been done by the team, and I just opened it up, reviewed it, and clicked sign, and that was it. So that was a pretty sort of milestone moment for me, to sit back and think about, because I was doing everything, all those steps, and couldn't take any time off. So that was, yeah, and then so getting time to have a holiday plus signing a building contract, which we only sign, 4 or 5 days a year. It's like our main
Yeah.
function, our main outcome of what we're trying to do through the whole pre-construction process. Was a great moment.
Yeah, I love that. And I got to experience that firsthand. And just recently we went on the Philippines Mastermind and BPO tour. And I know you jumped on that, and equally hearing, that you're running a number of businesses or owning a number of businesses and having them still continue to function with, just because that thought popped up in my head. On that tour, was there any additional insights? Like, you're a constant learner, a little bit like me, constantly putting new stuff in and trying to up your game. Was there anything that stood out for you on that trip?
So I've tried using virtual assistants last 4 or 5 years, all different ways, and it hasn't, some have been good, but most of them haven't worked out. And the
Mm.
ones that have good have dropped off, and we've had to sort of part ways. But just seeing the BPO centres, like
Yeah.
the different levels, actually visiting them and going into them, and um, seeing the type of environment that people work in, and I was sort of blown away. I thought it was, so we visited a few to start with, and they were sort of not dingy offices, but sort of lower quality offices, and then we went right up to, some office that you'd expect, some high-end office you'd expect to see in Australia, with all the little egg pods you can go and rest in, and the table tennis tables, and the really nice workplace, and all the values and missions and visions are all written on the walls, and nice colors. And so just seeing that was a bit of an eye opener, and then learning about like the few different ways that you can engage, with if you want to have virtual assistants. And then I really enjoyed the mastermind, where I learnt more about the culture of the Philippines and what we can do from Australia, to sort of work in with that culture. And then also the stuff, like I said, I'm geeking out on artificial intelligence stuff
Yeah.
this year. I think it's going to be a big year or two, and lots of changes coming. So just learning and seeing all those new up and coming ideas was, get the brain going. It was awesome. And
Yeah.
just removing yourself from your work environment. I think every time I do that, I have the biggest, I suppose, growth when I come back from something like that. So any holiday or any type of those sort of mastermind things where you can get away and remove yourself from the day to day. That's also a good stress test for your business if you are trying to systemize. That's what I recommend to people who are starting out, and as soon as they get their first few employees and start to get a few systems, I recommend they do go on a holiday and let their team sort of step up. So that's what I tell myself as well. It's always a chance for the team to step up when you step out.
Yeah, perfect. Some great advice there. And if people want to find out a little bit more on the work that you do, I'll include a link to daviesconstruction.com.au. Is that the best place for them to head?
Yep, they can head to Davies Construction. Our architecture URL is align.build. We can add that as well.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
they'll find most of our information there.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a great example of a business owner that has embraced systems and then got the outcome that business owners want. Like, a lot of business owners, they get started hoping for the business that gives them freedom, and then many times that's the last thing that they have. They're chained to their business. They can't go away on holidays. They can't step away. And I do feel like systemization is the only way to get there. So it's great to have stories like this for other business owners to go, you know what? If Luke can do this, I can do this. And then
That's right.
hopefully
If I
get
can
on the
do
path.
it, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, David, for writing the book and making it simple.